What's up guys, today I have a very exciting video because I bought every single LEGO Star Wars Clone Trooper. From the early days of LEGO Star Wars all the way through to the current LEGO sets, LEGO have released almost 100 different Clone Troopers, including some very rare and exclusive figures worth hundreds of dollars. I'll be keeping track of how much each figure is worth and revealing the total cost of every Clone Trooper at the end of the video, so make sure you comment down below your guesses for how much every figure is worth and see how close your guess is. Make sure you stick around to the end to learn the full history of the LEGO Star Wars Clone Trooper, and make sure you comment below which Clone Trooper is your favourite and which one is your least favourite. I'll select a random comment to win a free 330-second battle pack, so make sure you subscribe and I hope you guys enjoy the video. The LEGO Star Wars Clone Trooper journey starts all the way back in 2002 with this Phase 1 Clone Trooper. This figure came in the first Republic gunship and the first ATTE and has a very retro look to it. It has a very basic printing and the visor on the helmet is a hole, revealing the black head underneath. The helmet has very limited rotation due to the chin armor, so while this figure doesn't hold up to all the current clones, it has a very special place in many fans' collection. Next up in 2005 we get our first look at LEGO's Phase 2 clone armor. This clone pilot came in the ARC 170 as well as the first V-Wing, and also has a very old and vintage feel to it. The sand blue legs and arms are very unique, and the Phase 2 helmet mold uses the same visor hole technique as the previous Phase 1 clone helmet. In the same year we got our first look at a regular Phase 2 clone trooper. This clone has the same torso as the Phase 1 clone, but has a unique helmet print. While LEGO have released much better versions of this figure in the future, this clone is without a doubt one of the most iconic and nostalgic LEGO Star Wars figures. It appeared in the Clone Turbo Tank and the Clone Trooper Battle Pack. Continuing on in 2005, we have a very similar figure, which is the Clone Jet Trooper. This clone is identical to the last figure, other than the brick-built jetpack, which is very cool and is massive. This figure came out in the Clone Turbo Tank as well. 2005 was a massive year for Clone Troopers, as we also got this amazing 327th Star Corps Trooper. This figure follows a basic template set by the regular Phase 2 figure, however it has a yellow stripe down the centre of its torso and helmet to represent the armour of the 327th Star Corps, which is my favourite Clone Legion. This figure also has a really cool orange pauldron and even came with dual pistols. He also came in the turbo tank. Next up is a very rare Clone Trooper, and that's the 442nd Siege Battalion clone. He has a very vibrant green marking and was included in the Wookiee Catamaran set. Due to the exclusivity of this figure, he is worth a lot of money nowadays and is a very cool clone to have in your collection. Moving on, we have the 91st Mobile Reconnaissance Corps Trooper. He also follows the same template for the last few Clone Troopers, however he has dark red markings to match the 91st Mobile Corps from Revenge of the Sith. He only appeared in the Clone Scout Walker set. Finally in 2005 we have this very cool Clone Scout Trooper. This figure is an all-time great Clone Trooper and is very unique. His sand green armor adds to its coolness, and it has amazing camo printing on the torso and legs. His sand green helmet is the same mold as the less cool Imperial Scout Trooper, which also has a hole in the helmet as a visor. This figure only came in the turbo tank, which has led the value of this figure to skyrocket to well over $100. Skipping through to 2007, where LEGO released the first ever battle pack, and in this set a shock trooper was included. This figure features red markings and is one of my personal favourite Clone Legions, so I always liked this figure a lot. Unfortunately, I destroyed a few of these as a kid trying to customise them. Also included in that battle pack is another 327th clone. This figure has identical prints to the Turbo Tank 327th, however this time we didn't get the cool pauldron and he just came with the standard blaster. Then in 2008 we got an updated shock trooper in the ATAP, which was identical to the previous one other than the white belt compared to the previous black belt. Also in 2008 we got our first ever Clone Wars series clones. These clones featured a brand new helmet mold, and for the first time ever a Clone Trooper's visor was printed on. This was also the first time a clone had a face print, although the eyes look very cursed. This pilot clone came in the V-19, Republic Shuttle, Venator, and AT-OT and dropship sets, and featured printing based off the Clone Wars series. Next up we got the most loved clone ever, Captain Rex. This figure is really solid and appeared in the ATTE. He comes with some really nice clone helmet attachments which can pop in and out of the included helmet holes. Rex also had a unique face print from the rest of the clones, showing off his 5 o'clock shadow. The printing on this figure is very accurate and captures Captain Rex in LEGO form perfectly. We also got Commander Cody, which is an equally fantastic figure. Appearing in the fan favourite Republic gunship set, this figure is a grail to many Clone Wars fans, Similar to Rex, LEGO did this figure justice and perfectly captured Commander Cody's looks in this figure. Using the same armor design, LEGO also released a regular Clone Wars Phase 1 Trooper, and in my opinion, this is the most iconic and recognizable LEGO Clone Trooper ever. It appeared in 11 sets, including the amazing Clone Walker Battle Pack, and this is the figure that really started army building in the LEGO Star Wars community. I remember buying as many of this clone as I could when I was 10 years old, but unfortunately, many of them fell victim to Sharpies. This next clone is identical to the previous clone, however, he has a rangefinder attachment and appeared in the gunship. This clone is also identical, however, he has a full set of Commander armor and came in the Republic fighter tank. Next is one of the rarest and most expensive of these Clone Wars style clones, and that is a really cool Commander Fox. The dark red marking makes this clone stand out, and the figure only appeared in this Spider Droid set. Because of the exclusiveness of this figure, he goes for well over $100 on the used market. Moving on to 2009, the next variant of the Clone Wars armor was the Clone Gunner. This figure appeared in the Venator and the Clone Walker Battle Pack, making this figure very accessible and iconic. Despite how iconic this figure is, I personally think it's a bit ugly, but it will always have a special place in my heart. Also appearing in the Clone Walker Battle Pack was this variation of the regular clone with Commander armor. Other than the armor, he is identical to the regular clone figure. Next up in 2009 was the Clone Jet Trooper. Two of this figure came in the Corporate Alliance tank droid, and the jetpack is the only unique thing on this figure. It's a very nice mold, but other than that, this is just another plain clone. Next is another boring variation, which is just a clone with a black rangefinder. He came in the turbo tank. This set also included another variation, which is this clone with a pauldron and visor. Moving on to 2010 is this really nice Captain Jag figure. This clone was seen at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith and features very unique clone armor, so it was very nice to acquire this figure in the updated ARC 170 set. Also appearing in this set is a regular clone pilot using the same helmet mold, however slightly different printing. I really like the open visor exposing the clone pilot's face, similar to X-Wing pilots. Moving further into 2010, we got an upgrade of the classic Phase 2 clone. This figure uses their same helmet mold as before, however all the printing was significantly upgraded, giving this figure a much sharper and modern look. It only appeared in the Republic Swamp Speeder set. Then in Palpatine's shuttle set, we got another clone pilot, however this time the head mold represents the helmet hiding the clone face. This figure has a very menacing look to it, and I actually really like it. Moving into 2011, LEGO gave us this really unique ARF Trooper. This figure recycled the Phase 1 torso, however the brand new helmet mold makes this figure very special. ARF Troopers gave collectors some variation to their army, and this figure came in the Bomb Squad Trooper Battle Pack. Also appearing in the same set was this Horn Company Trooper. I am very surprised LEGO made this clone, as we barely ever saw this company of clone, but I'm happy they did. The sand green markings really stand out and look amazing. And finally in the same set was two of these Bomb Squad Troopers. While I really like this figure, I don't think it should have come in an army building set, as they only appear in one Clone Wars episode. The helmet was molded with orange plastic, meaning the white printing on the helmet has a slight tinge of orange to it, which unfortunately hinders this figure. Other than that, it's a pretty nice fig. Next was a variation of Captain Rex. This figure has different armor attachments and comes in the Battle of Geonosis set. Then in 2011, LEGO gave us this amazing figure. This is the Shadow ARF Trooper, which was a promotional figure, and due to its rarity, goes for absolutely crazy amounts of money. This was the last clone I needed, so I bought it specifically for this video, and it cost me over $500. So it's definitely a figure only hardcore collectors have. Let me know in the comments if you think this figure is worth $500. Later in 2011 was another one of the coolest clones, and that is Commander Wolf. The printing on this figure is phenomenal, and I absolutely love the helmet. The sand blue markings are very accurate, but unfortunately this figure only came in the Republic Frigate set, meaning this figure is an unrealistic figure to acquire to many fans, as it goes for a lot of money. Just as cool as Commander Wolf was the Wolfpack Trooper, which came in the same set. This figure has unique printing and even has one of the molded clone jetpacks, which just adds to the coolness of this fig. Next up is a variation of Cody, but the only difference is this figure doesn't have the pauldron and Karma. This figure came in the Geonosian Starfighter set. Following that was another variation of a previous clone. This clone pilot is identical to previous pilots, however this one has a black head. It appeared in the Advent calendar. Then in 2012, LEGO released this amazing ARC Trooper. This was the first and one of only two ARC Troopers LEGO have released, and this is a fantastic figure. It includes a cloth pauldron, cloth waist cape, and a backpack, as well as a custom molded ARC Trooper helmet. The printing on this figure is absolutely phenomenal, and this is without a doubt one of the coolest clone troopers. It was released in the Clone vs Droideka Battle Pack. Also released in that set was the Rancor Battalion ARF Trooper. This uses the same ARF Trooper helmet mold as the other ARF Trooper, however this one has dark red markings to represent the Rancor Battalion. This is another great clone to add some diversity to your clone army. The last clone to be released in 2012 was this Commander Gree figure. He looks really nice and matches in great with the other Clone Wars style commanders and captains. He was included in the Geonosian Cannon set and is definitely a nice fig to have in your collection. Moving on to 2013, LEGO finally gave us an updated Attack of the Clones version of the Phase 1 Clone Trooper. This figure uses the same helmet mold as the Clone Wars troopers, however the prints on this helmet and torso are much more movie accurate and look much sleeker. This Sergeant clone features olive green printing, and this clone was the first to have the iconic angry clone head. This figure came in the Clone vs Droideka Battle Pack. Appearing alongside the Sergeant was the updated regular Phase 1 clone. This clone looks very nice and was a much needed upgrade to the original Attack of the Clones Clone Trooper. He has the exact same printing as the Sergeant, however doesn't have any of the olive green markings. Also in 2013 we got the 501st Clone Pilot. This clone uses a unique helmet mold that represents the pilot helmets we see in the Clone Wars. This figure in particular is based on the pilots we see in the Umbara Clone Wars arc, as this figure came in the Z95 Headhunter set. Also appearing in this set was our first look at an updated Phase 2 Clone Trooper. This 501st Troop features a brand new helmet mold which looks much better and more accurate than the old Phase 2 helmet. This rendition of the Phase 2 clone is based off the Clone Wars, so the printing follows the look of the animated troopers. This figure also appeared in the 501st ATRT. Next up is one of the all-time great clone troopers, Phase 2 Captain Rex. This figure is a grail to many collectors and features some really cool torso and helmet printing. The inclusion of a pauldron also adds to this figure's coolness, but the thing that makes this figure valuable is its rarity. It only appeared in the BARC Speeder and Sidecar set, meaning that for the next 10 years this was the only figure of the most iconic clone trooper, leading to the value to skyrocket. Continuing on in 2013, we get a very weird clone trooper. This 2/12th clone appeared in the Umbaran MHC set, however it is a very inaccurate and forgotten clone trooper. We all know 2/12th clones should be orange, but for some reason LEGO decided to make this clone yellow. If this figure came out today, there would be lots of people in the LEGO community that would have complete mental breakdowns and wouldn't be able to handle the inaccuracies. Next up, appearing in the ATTE with this Clone Trooper Commander. This guy follows the same template as the rest of the Phase 1 Attack of the Clones troopers, except this guy has the yellow markings of a commander. 2013 was a great year for clone troopers, as we also got the updated Attack of the Clones Pilot Clone Trooper. This figure follows the same template as the other Phase 1 troops, however features the pilot markings. This is a very good figure, but I do wish the helmet mold was missing the fin to make it more movie accurate. This figure came in the Republic gunship. Also in the Republic gunship was this clone captain. I absolutely love the dark red marking, and in my opinion this is the coolest of the Attack of the Clones ranked clone troopers. I really like the silver visor on this figure, which really sets it apart from regular grunts. Following the clone captain was the clone lieutenant. This figure is identical to the previous one, except the dark red is swapped for blue, representing the clone rank of lieutenant. I also really like this one, and it appeared in a promotional polybag. Moving on to 2014, and LEGO gave us an updated Kashyyyk Scout Trooper. This clone has an updated helmet mold and looks much more movie accurate than the previous version of this clone. The olive green colouring of this trooper really makes him stand out and adds some much needed colour variation into fans' armies. This figure came in the Kashyyyk Battle Pack, Turbo Tank and Droid Gunship. To stand alongside the Scout Trooper, LEGO gave us this regular Phase 2 Kashyyyk clone. This was a weird figure to make, as it hadn't appeared in any Star Wars content at the time of the release of this figure and only appeared in Battlefront 2 years later. The figure does look cool though, having the same green camouflage and green visor. This clone came in the Kashyyyk Battle Pack and the Homing Spider Droid. To lead these two clones, LEGO released a Commander Gree figure. This figure is based on one of the clones that tried to get Yoda during Order 66, and I think LEGO did this figure justice. The colouring and camo patterns work perfectly to create this iconic clone commander. This figure came in the Turbo Tank and the ATAP Walker. 2014 was a massive year for clone troopers, as we also got one of the best clones ever, and that is the 2/12th Clone Trooper. On LEGO's second attempt of representing this iconic Legion, they did a much better job on the colour palette and created this amazing figure. The orange markings along with slight battle damage really elevate this figure, and due to how easy this figure was to acquire at the time, this clone has gone down as one of the coolest. It came in the 2/12 battle pack. Also appearing in that battle pack was LEGO's first attempt at an airborne trooper. I remember wishing LEGO would make one of these when I was a kid, so I was very excited when this figure came out. It has a unique helmet mold which perfectly captures the menacing look of the airborne clone trooper. This figure also has a fabric waist cape, which is something LEGO doesn't do anymore, which only makes this figure cooler. Continuing on, in 2014 we got an updated 91st Reconnaissance clone. This figure has very unique helmet printing, which gives this clone a very cool look. This was a much needed upgrade over the older version of this figure and came out in the Battle on Seleucami set. Next we got another clone pilot. This figure is very similar to the clones we got in Palpatine's shuttle, however this time the arms are light grey instead of sand blue. This came in the V-Wing set. Another really cool clone trooper came out this year, and that is the updated Shock Trooper. This clone follows the same Clone Wars Phase 2 template and features all the red markings expected on a Shock Trooper. Shock Troopers are really cool in my opinion, so I absolutely love this clone. However, it only appeared in the Coruscant Police gunship, meaning this figure was hard to army build. Next up is this amazing Wolfpack Trooper. The Wolfpack is a fan favourite Legion, so it really surprises me that this is the only figure of this Legion in its Phase 2 armour. The printing of the wolf on the helmet looks fantastic, and this is another one of my favourite clone troopers. This fig only came in the AV7 cannon. To round off this amazing clone trooper year, LEGO gave us a plain white Phase 2 clone trooper. This figure matches perfectly with the other movie realistic clone troopers and surprisingly only appeared in one set. It came in the Turbo Tank Microfighter, which at least meant it wasn't too bad to army build at the time. However, LEGO didn't re-release this figure until 10 years later, meaning this was a very sought after figure for a long time. The final clone trooper in 2014 was this Santa clone, which was the same as the previous clone, however it included a Santa hat instead of a helmet. It came in the Advent calendar. Moving on to 2015, the first clone we got was a weird one. The Geonosian Airborne Trooper is very unique and features dark orange camouflage to help him blend in on Geonosis. This clone never appeared in any Star Wars content, but it's still cool LEGO made it. It appeared in the Geonosis Trooper battle pack. Also in that battle pack was a Phase 2 Geonosis clone, which also hasn't appeared in any Star Wars content, but matches great with the Airborne Trooper. I really like the camo on this clone, however I wish LEGO made a Wolfpack or 327th battle pack instead. Next up we got this really cool clone pilot. It matches in really nicely with the older Captain Jag and clone pilot figures, however this clone has different helmet printing. It appeared in the ARC 170 Microfighter and really makes me want a new ARC 170 to be made. Following that we got another Phase 1 clone pilot. This figure is the same as the old one, however this one also has leg printing. It came in the Gunship Microfighter. After that we got another Phase 1 clone Lieutenant, which is also the same as the previous version but also now features leg printing. It came in the Hailfire Droid set. Then in 2016 we got Captain Rex's ATTE, which gave us Old Man Commander Gregor, Old Man Captain Wolf and Old Man Captain Rex. These figures are based off the Star Wars Rebels TV show, and I'm really happy LEGO gave us these unique clone troopers. Then in 2017 we got our first ever Phase 2 clone gunner. This clone features very similar printing to the iconic Phase 1 clone gunner, but this time on the updated Phase 2 armour. This clone is pretty cool but also very forgettable in my opinion. It came in the Republic fighter tank. Moving on to 2018 we got another clone battle pack which featured two of these new Phase 1 clones. They are the same figure as we previously got, but this time they came with leg printing. In 2019 we got another version of the Kashyyyk Scout Trooper. The only difference is a slightly different leg print, and this figure came in the AT-AP and in the AT-RT. We also got another Commander Gree, which was also identical except for a slight colour difference on one of the legs. It came in the AT-AP. Next up in 2020 we got this 501st Jet Trooper. This clone is based off the Jet Troopers we see in Season 7 of the Clone Wars, and I think this is a great figure. The printing looks fantastic and it includes a blue jetpack. This clone came in the legendary 501st Battle Pack set. Also in this set is the updated 501st Clone Trooper. This is an absolutely legendary figure in the history of LEGO Star Wars because it took years of fans begging LEGO to make a 501st Battle Pack before they finally decided to do it. The 501st is the most iconic clone legion, so it was amazing to finally be able to build a massive clone trooper army, and I'm very happy this set came out because it allowed me to build my gigantic Jedi Temple mock. I absolutely love the printing and the look of this figure, and it definitely is one of the best clone figures ever. Also releasing in 2020 was our first look at a 332nd Clone Trooper. This figure has the same torso as a 501st clone, but features 332nd orange markings on the helmet. I think LEGO did a great job capturing this Legion in minifigure form, and this figure came in the AAT set. The final clone of 2020 was a new 212th Airborne Trooper. This clone is pretty similar to the old one, but some of the printing is slightly different, and this clone has 2 white arms instead of 1 orange arm. This figure was the final clone to have a cloth waist cape and appeared in General Grievous the Starfighter. Moving on to 2021, we got an upgraded Clone Commander figure. This is very similar to the old one, however the yellow is darker on this figure, which in my opinion looks much better, and this clone also has the new leg printing on it. It came in the UCS Gunship, the Clone minifigure pack, and the Advent Calendar. Also in the Clone minifigure pack is an updated Phase 1 Clone Trooper. This clone is very similar to previous versions, but this figure has the updated leg prints. Also in 2021, LEGO released the Bad Batch shuttle, which included all members of the Bad Batch. LEGO did a great job capturing Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Echo, Crosshair, and Omega in LEGO form. All of these figures are represented in their Season 1 armor, and I really hope LEGO make these figures again in their other armor. Then in 2022, LEGO released another Airborne Trooper. This 187th Airborne Trooper has purple markings and a printed waist cape. This clone isn't based on any canon Star Wars clones, but still looks pretty cool, and I'm happy we got another Legion to collect. This figure came in the Clone Fighter tank. We also got a regular 187th Trooper in this set, which has the same marking as the Shock Trooper, but this time in purple. I really like this figure, although it also isn't based off any clones we see in any shows or movies. Later on in 2022, we finally got our first ever Phase 2 Commander Cody. Fans had begged LEGO for decades for this figure, and finally LEGO delivered. I think they did a great job with this figure, and LEGO created a new helmet mold which included helmet holes in order for Cody's visor to be able to be connected to his helmet. The battle damage adds a lot of detail to this figure, and I absolutely love this clone. It appeared in the ATTE Walker. Also in this set is one of the most controversial clones ever, and that is the updated 212th clone. This clone is controversial because the helmet has helmet holes, which to many fans look ugly and are not necessary for a figure that doesn't need any helmet attachments. Not only that, but the helmet print isn't very accurate to what is shown in Revenge of the Sith, and was inaccurately advertised on the box art, leading to many fans being upset. This fig came in the ATTE, Advent Calendar, and in a magazine. The final clone to come in the ATTE was another clone gunner, which also suffers from ugly helmet holes, but other than that, this is just another clone gunner. Moving on to 2023, we got the 501st Specialist Battle Pack, which included a 501st Officer, a 501st Sniper, and 2 501st Heavy clones. All 3 of these clones follow the same basic design, but all have their own unique parts. The Sniper included this brand new macro binocular attachment, and the Heavy Trooper came with a brick-built backpack. Later in 2023, we also got a 332nd Battle Pack, which came with a Captain Vaughn figure, which is also controversial. Many fans call this figure lazy, as some minor details seen on Captain Vaughn were missed on this figure. However, I like this minifigure a lot because it allows multiples to be used as regular 332nd Troopers. Also in this set was another 332nd Trooper. The only difference to the old one is this one includes helmet holes, and we also got a Jet Trooper, which is the same but also includes a jetpack. Next up is Commander Fox. This figure came out in the Coruscant Guard gunship and is another hated clone by the community. The inclusion of a printed waist cape, as well as an inaccurate torso print, led to many fans complaining about this figure, but I still like it, and I'm just happy that we even got a Phase 2 Fox. To go along with Commander Fox, we also got 2 of his brand new Shock Troopers in the gunship. I absolutely love this figure, and I bought a lot of these to build a huge Shock Trooper army. This figure was also released in the Cloneverse Droid Battle Pack, making this figure much more accessible and army buildable. Next up is the updated version of Captain Rex. This was another clone that fans begged LEGO for years to remake, and finally they did, but just like always, many fans complained about this figure. The inclusion of a printed waist cape, oversized ammo pouch, and helmet holes were aspects many people didn't like about this figure, and the fact that it came out in the UCS Venator meant that many people couldn't afford this figure, meaning many fans still couldn't get their hands on a Captain Rex. It is rumoured that it will be coming in a future Microfighter though, so hopefully some fans will be happy with that. Moving on to 2024, LEGO released another clone battle pack, and this time we got the return of the regular Phase 2 clone. 3 of them were included in this battle pack, meaning many fans were able to build huge armies of this iconic clone. Next up in 2024, LEGO finally released the first ever Fives figure. This was another clone that many people didn't like due to the ugly helmet printing and printed waist cape. While I do agree the helmet could have been much better, I think it's really cool LEGO made a named clone trooper that isn't a captain or commander. I hope they continue to make more in the future. This clone came in the Tantive 4 hallway set. The final clone trooper to be released at the making of this video is another 501st clone, which is identical to the old one, but this one also has helmet holes. It came in Grogu's Escape set. And that is every LEGO Star Wars clone trooper ever made. Remember to like, comment and subscribe to be entered into the clone battle pack giveaway, and I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I could do a similar video about every stormtrooper or every Jedi ever made, so let me know if you'd like to see that.